All right. Okay, cool. Guys, welcome to episode number 5 of the BJJ and Business Marketing Podcast. Today we are here with Dylan Dearborn from
Yes,
CNA
sir.
Infinity Jiu-Jitsu. Clap it up. Yeah. And I haven't seen if they put the clapping in yet, but I'll talk to Lee if she put it in. But man, thank you so much for joining us today. Our goal in this podcast is to talk to other people that have a jiu-jitsu academies and like be able to provide value for people that are thinking about getting into jiu-jitsu or owning an academy and just what it's like, to live the dream / nightmare, depending on what day it is. But thank you so much for coming in. And so Infinity Jiu-Jitsu, there's a guy here this like guys are all over, right? Is there one here in the Bay? I feel like I see these guys at tournaments all the time.
There shouldn't be. If there is, they're going to get a cease and desist order.
It's the same logo, so it's probably
It's,
could be the same guy. Are you the head honcho of the whole organization, or?
yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay, yeah, I know I see the logo for sure at tournaments, and I've seen it for years. So, do you guys travel a lot to compete here a lot, or like the U.S. Opens and stuff, or?
I haven't been to the U.S. Open in years, man. Last time I went there, I think I was actually a purple belt.
Okay.
But
Well, if I see him,
you're in Santa Cruz, right?
I'm in the city I'm in is Hayward, which is just south of Oakland. So we're kind of like in East Bay. Yeah.
Right on, dude.
Right off. Well, shoot. So tell me, like, what got you into jiu-jitsu? Like, how did you get into owning an academy and doing all this kind of stuff?
Well, 2 friends of mine got me into jiu-jitsu. We were all doing security together. And, I just kind of got poked into it. I got into an altercation at work one night with about 5 people. Eesh. And I ended up in a situation where I probably could have used jiu-jitsu, and nothing bad happened or anything.
What kind of security was it? Like what kind of a?
I did club security and bartending in San Diego for about 17 years, man.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I did that
for about 3 weeks, and it was just like telling people, "Hey, man, you can't have fun here. Don't drink in the parking lot. Don't smoke that doobie." I don't know, but yeah.
Well, this is like open the door with people's heads and like smashing people. That's kind of what my manager told me to do when I started when I was 21 years old. So
sign me up.
I wasn't into it. I don't drink. And so working in that industry, it was weighing heavy on me. And so later on, that's what got me to make the decision to have an academy. But getting back to jiu-jitsu, they kept egging me on to go to a class, and finally that thing happened. I got in. I went to a class. I don't know. You're from the Bay Area, so you probably know a guy named Flavio Meyer.
Oh, yeah, I know Flavio. Yeah, that's my boy. Yeah.
Flavio is my very first jiu-jitsu match ever, and I thank him for it all the time. He kicked my fucking ass, dude. I was like 300-pound weightlifting security guy. That guy choked me out and armbarred me. He was a purple belt then. Man, and I was so mad. I was like, where do I sign up?
Yeah.
I need to learn this stuff.
And I think, to your point, I think like in jiu-jitsu, I feel like, and you can totally think about it, I feel like it's a rare type of person that can go in a situation and then get their ass kicked and then be like, oh, dude, I am now humble.
I got to do this.
Learn. Sign me up. Versus like, I'm never coming back here again.
Right.
That's so funny. Yeah, I know Flavio. His brother is like a superstar in Brazil. He was like a Hollywood
a soap opera guy.
Yeah.
He's absolutely.
Like, of our lives. Os dias are vidas or something like that. That's okay. Small. I feel like this thing is like a traveling circus, man. Like everybody kind of knows each other. Okay, so you did your first class. What year was that?
This was February in 2003.
Wow. Okay. It's so funny how you like remember like the time and the exact type of thing.
I remember me and actually, Joel Tudor. Joel Tudor and I were in the same class together that day, and a couple other heads that you might recognize, but that's probably the 2 most notable ones is Flavio and Joel.
Okay, I don't think that I've met Joel, but I know I've trained Flavio. I know Flavio for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell him what's up. I'm gonna say, "What's up, man?" I talked to
Yeah, tell him I said hi, man.
I
I
will.
always
I will.
appreciate that, dude. I love seeing him.
I'm gonna say, "What's up?" Okay, so February 2003. How did you end up getting? You're doing security still, and then
Yeah.
what led that to you to like kind of open up your own spot?
So, you know, I had already was training in my garage with a friend of mine. We actually started in a park, and
Oh wow.
we bought a blue tarp and put it on the grass, and we were rolling on that because we lived out east. Rodrigo's school is at the beach, and so to conserve time, you know, we started training in the park. Then it, you know, evolved into getting mats for the garage. Then he got mats for his garage. I had mine for mine, and we started going back and forth. Then we started training with people in each other's garage, and so it kind of evolved. But the catalyst to open an academy was, you know, my mom passed away in the beginning of 2008, and my best friend was like, "Look, man, I'm gonna take you to this Tony Robbins seminar. It's badass. You're gonna learn all kinds of stuff. I think you're in a funk and you need to get out." And so in that seminar, through a lot of self-discovery and book work, I came to the conclusion like this is what I wanted to do.
Wow.
For several reasons.
Yeah, I love Tony Robbins. That guy is like, I mean, you can't go wrong. You listen to him, you having some kind of day, it's like, oh, bro, I can do this.
Yeah.
It's like, so what year did you guys open up?
We opened up in September 2009.
Wow.
So I had about this much business knowledge. Never graduated high school. I think I made it to the 10th grade, but never passed the 10th grade. And so everything I learned was trial and error, just, you know, basically fucking everything up until I got it right.
Bro, it like for us, we opened up 2009, same thing.
Yep.
And same, you know, I graduated, whatever, did some vocational stuff, but had no clue, man. Cool. So what do you think was like your motivation to do it? Like, what was your motivation to like say, you know what, I'm gonna stop doing this? Were you working at the same time or like?
Yeah, for the first few years of the academy, I was still working nights and teaching during the day. So I had this thing, and you know, making that leap to the academy only was a scary thing. But you know, I did it about, I think it's been 9 years now.
Oh wow.
9 years ago, I made that leap.
That's what's up. So how are things now? 9 years into it, like how's the academy? How many students you have? Like how's it going?
You know, we fluctuate between 225 and 275, anywhere in that window, depending on the time of year. But it's pretty solid. Like I would say 250 is a good solid number to say and be honest. We hover right around there. And, you know, I really have no desire to have a giant academy. I rue the day where I walk into the academy and I don't know somebody. You know, I want to keep it tight like that. But I'm definitely not opposed to having affiliates, which we do have. I have one in Utah, one in Tennessee, one in Maryland. And then we just opened up a satellite school here in San Diego.
Oh, nice.
And so, you know, and we got plans to open up a few more here and there, but just slow and steady, man. I'm in no rush, dude. And I never want it to be this giant monster that I can't have a hold of. You know, I want it to be gradual and good and family minded and responsible, and the right guys have to be in position. You know, there's too much weird stuff going on in jiu-jitsu, and so it's always going to have to be the right guy.
Weird stuff going on everywhere. I feel like that's just how the future works. It just gets more weirder and weirder as we go. You know,
it seems that way, man.
But maybe that's just us. Like, you darn kids, you're so weird. You know, I don't know.
But we can't. You know, we can't control that. We can only control what we do.
Exactly.
And that's where my focus is. You know, the rest of the world's going to do what it's going to do. But you know, if I have a good academy with good instructors and good intentions, and we have a large kids program, then I'm able to have this audience where I can have influence over the youth and teach them the right things in the right way, and let them learn from my past mistakes instead of them having to make them all themselves, you know. And so,
and I find a lot of people that are in jiu-jitsu and kind of get into this type of business, like sure, it's like this fighting kind of thing and we're choking people and stuff like this, but like I don't think I've ever met someone or very few people that weren't just really intentionally like, look, dude, this is what I've been through. This is what I'm trying to help you out. I know you can learn. Like, I think just even if you look at like human beings in general, from like our ancestors and forefathers, like we're continually like, look, here, I tried this. Don't do that, man. Just don't do lions, stay away from them. Trust me, they look cute. Stay away from them kind of thing. So and then again, like you said, leading with that intention is like super crucial, man. I think that will like definitely steer you in the direction of where you'll ultimately end up.
So everybody has this idea that they're going to open up an academy and make all this money and all these things, but they forget to put intention behind it. And when there's no intention behind something, no matter what you do, it's going to fall on its face.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be how you talk. It's going to be how you present. What you're doing. So yeah, super. Yeah, clip that up. That's super important. So okay, 9 years into this, like you're doing affiliates, you're doing training, you have a family place, a lot of children and stuff. Like, do you feel like what's it like now versus like working as a bouncer or working, nights and stuff like that? Like, how would you say is the shift in your life has been?
I mean, I'm living the dream, dude. I provide for my family. I own the house that I live in.
Oh, nice.
We like to we're desert people. So we go we keep a dedicated spot out there with our trailer and our motorcycles. We go out there and shoot, barbecue, and ride dirt bikes, and that's our little vacation. I don't really go to too many foreign countries at the moment, so that's our getaway.
Yeah.
And it's hard because it's in the wintertime and that's wrestling season. I also volunteer wrestling coach. Both my boys graduated already, but I stayed on because I love wrestling. I fell in love with it because of my kids. And so now I'm kind of, I'm on it, dude. I'm in there. It's my jam. Plus I get my coaching reps. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, totally.
Helps me get my reps.
Totally. And I love the desert too. Like I went to Arizona years ago and you think it's like this barren kind of stuff, but dude, there's nature and cactus and ecosystems and like birds and like beauty and the air's crisp and like, the cactus grows and the water's under it and the bugs and all this kind of stuff. Like if you're appreciative of that stuff, like it isn't just like a barren kind of thing. Like it is a whole nother kind of like beautiful ecosystem. Maybe I should go there next time. Check out the desert. Convince my wife. She's more like ocean person, but okay, so you've been doing this for a while. I think when we get into jiu-jitsu, we always have like those students that stand out that like, man, they came in like this and they left like that. You know what I mean? They came in one situation and now they're doing like a whole nother thing. You don't have to tell any names or anything, but do you have like any stories you could share with us about like, hey, this guy came in, was feeling like this, and then 6 years later he's doing this so much better or something like that? Like basically what some of your most impactful moments you think from being an instructor and an academy owner?
I have a younger guy, and he's when he came to me, he was a younger guy. He's still younger than me, but probably one of my more favorite stories was him. Is he came in about 15 years old, and seemed like he didn't have a lot of direction. Parents are great. He was a water polo kid, and he wasn't sure. And it was actually this holiday deal that we had. It was a really temporary deal. And his sister bought it for him for the holidays, and they came in together. She ended up bailing, and he ended up sticking around. And I think I'm getting ready to give him his second degree on his black belt, and he just opened up an affiliate school.
Wow! Oh my God! What year did he start training with you?
He started pretty much the beginning, 2010, I would say, is the most accurate. I think I can get there. So just a few months after we opened up, he started.
Wow! So he was just a young kid trying to figure it out, and then got the jiu-jitsu bug.
Yep.
The lifestyle was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, I got to watch him achieve a high level of focus. After he graduated high school, he went on and got a degree in kinesiology with jiu-jitsu in mind, from Cal Poly Humboldt. So I got to go up there and watch him walk. Actually, my younger son is there on a wrestling scholarship right now.
Wow, that's what's up.
Yeah, they just brought back their program this year, and he got pulled in there by the coaches from Cal State Bakersfield. He was wrestling down at Cal State Bakersfield, and they recruited him up there.
That's beautiful, man. I think to be able to like see kids like grow and then go to like their graduation. I don't think I went to a dinner after graduation. I didn't actually go to the graduation.
Yeah.
But maybe if some of his kids graduate, I'll show up and be like, yeah, he did it. But
I'm actually in November. He's met this woman in Tennessee, where the affiliate is, and I'm actually going to marry them in November. So I'm flying out there to marry this guy too. So like all of the things, anything, or if people are like Jiu-Jitsu saved my life or Jiu-Jitsu is good, he's checking all the boxes for this stuff, dude.
Wow.
It's a pretty cool story.
I have never heard of that. Are you like what do they call it? Where you get like a marriage license, marriager?
Ordained minister.
Yeah. Ordained minister. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's the first time I've ever heard something like that.
I actually married one of my judo coaches a couple years ago too, at the marina over here.
We gotta also we'll marry you and your family.
Yeah, I'll wear my gi and everything, man. It's all good.
Put like a tuxedo gi.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I think like with jiu-jitsu, we're so up and close and personal. There's so much vulnerability involved. There's so much like humility, and like you can't fake the funk. The mask, like I said, the masks don't lie. You know what I mean? And I think that in itself gives people the opportunity to really form like these really strong, like solid relationships with people, and ended up marrying them in Tennessee when they get older. That's dope, bro. Okay, so we're in business here. So what would you say is like your perfect client? Like who would you say is like your perfect customer, the perfect student that you would want to attract?
A father of 4 with a wife that wants to train and wants all his kids to train, has a pretty solid foundation in life. Maybe he's going to church and he has a contracting business or something like that. So when I think of my perfect avatar for a customer, I think of something like that business wise, and also somebody that's committed. If he's committed himself to being a contractor in life and having a marriage and that many kids, and he's going to church, I can see the commitment behind him, and that's the kind of commitment you need, as you know, for jiu-jitsu. You can't be a part-timer in jiu-jitsu or you're gonna suck.
Yeah. Do you find that client, the one that you want today, was different when you first started?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah.
When I first started, I was still a competitor, man. I'm like, man, I just want some tough guys in here that can try to beat me up, and I'm going to beat their ass, and we're going to roll super hard. And the academy didn't grow for years because of that, dude. Because all it was a Shark Tank. People would walk in, get their ass handed to them, and never come back. So we didn't grow for a long time, and I couldn't understand why. So that was one of my biggest mistakes, I think.
It's so funny. Like I started jiu-jitsu, I want to say it was the winter of 1999. And again, it was because remember that day because it was cold, it was dark in Seattle, and like the Red Hot Chili Peppers was on the radio, and Dr. Dre 2001. And it was not jiu-jitsu for everybody, man. It was just like you expect. It was a bunch of tough guys beating each other up. You go in there, I was probably like 100. I think my lightest like 140, 138 pounds, something like that. And I think seeing people becoming more business minded and understanding, like, look, like that's not a great experience. And Yelp, I'm sure, was a big driving factor in making sure people have good experiences. For the better, I think has definitely changed that. And there's tough guys and places for tough guys to go, but it's interesting kind of how that when we start is like tough guys like no, I want family, and it almost is kind of like and respectfully, how old were you in 2003?
27.
27. Okay, it is. I think it's almost kind of like as we kind of mature in age, it's kind of like what, this is the thing to do. Which comes with jiu-jitsu. So let me ask you this: when you're at like a party or something, you're hanging out with some kind of social surrounding, people ask you, hey, what do you do? What type of business are you in? Like, what do you have, like your 30-second elevator pitch, or like what do you tell people when they ask you what you do?
I kind of chuckle And I just tell them, man, I do the most amazing thing, and I explain to them kind of what I do. I run a martial arts academy. I don't say jiu-jitsu because most people you could say whatever you want, karate, whatever, they wouldn't even know anyway.
Yeah.
And if they know, if they're in the know, then they'll ask me what kind of martial arts, and I tell them jiu-jitsu, and they're like, "Oh man, where'd you start training?" We have that whole conversation, but yeah,
I'm gonna use that, by the way. I'm gonna say, "Oh, bro, I do the most amazing thing."
right, yeah. So that's about it. I tell them I run a martial arts school, and typically they're, "Oh, where are you at?" Because people are generally interested, I think, in that, because there's so many good things that come from martial arts, man. And it doesn't matter, dude, if it's karate or whatever. We all know jiu-jitsu is the best anyway. We don't have to say that over and over again. But if somebody's doing karate, good on them, dude. If they're doing taekwondo, good on them. Whatever.
Exactly. If
Whatever.
you're
Just get in
consistent,
there.
you're working hard, you're growing
Yeah,
towards something. I'm like, bro, like, what more can you ask for? You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Except for learn how to take down some jiu-jitsu. But
Yeah.
so what is your process like for like getting new students? Like, what is your process for like, with all these affiliates and all these kind of like, this business that you've grown? Like, what is your, like, someone wants to sign up for your gym? How does that process look? What does that process look like?
Well, of course, we acquire the lead, the name, phone number, and email, and then it's just,
Our website is beautiful, by the way. I saw your website. I gotta switch mine up. The website is very nice, by the way.
Thank you, man. That's a 97 Display. They built our
Yeah.
site.
I literally got off the phone with them today. Shout out 97 Display. Put them in the chat.
Yeah, man, they're great, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get the lead capture, and then we book them for a class, and they come in, and then we go through the consultation process and try to close them right there day one.
Okay. Do you like, how many leads do you think you get a month with your website and stuff? Are you doing bad? Or are you like doing
on average from the website we get between 2 and 5 a day?
Oh,
I would
wow.
say. And I mean, you know how that goes, dude. You get 5 leads, probably going to book 2 for an appointment, and probably one of them signs up. So
Yeah.
you can kind of do the math there in your head.
Yeah. Do you have like a front desk person that like calls them or follows up with them and stuff, or?
Absolutely. So I have a couple of different people working for me. I have one lady that's focused on our blogging and social media. My son actually, by accident, asked to work at the front desk in sales, and it turns out
where you're like, hey, son, guess what?
Well, no, he was like, hey, Dad, what do you think about me working on the front? I'm like, okay, you can try it out for a week, dude, but just because you're my son, if you suck, I'm going to fire your ass, But turns out he's a freaking pit bull in sales.
Wow.
Like, didn't even have to try. And then when I showed him actually how to do it, it got even better.
Yeah, it's so funny how you can find that person. Like, you can go through a huge swath of people, and then one that just like gets it, and you're like, and it's probably even better as your own son. But I mean, he's watching you probably do this. He's grew up, I'm sure, watching you kind of do this stuff. So
yeah, so he has the story down. So if he, and it's not like he's making some stuff up. He like literally grew up on the mat. He was in a car seat when I started at the Rodrigo Medeiros Academy, in a car seat on the side of the mat. Same with my other son. They grew up. We had mats in our garage. We would go places where they had mats, and so that was their life. They never played any other sports.
wow.
Because we didn't have the time.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. So are these people full time, or like just come in during the, like, are they calling leads all the time, or are they like
So we have a dedicated office phone, and right now I had one of our ladies doing the appointment setting job, of calling leads and setting the intros. And anyway, since about 2 weeks ago, my son Ever has taken it back over, and so now he's setting his own appointments. And there's one other lady that does closes on Thursdays and Tuesdays as well. And so he works part-time in the afternoon because he has a day job. But yeah, mostly in the afternoon. Some closes we do during the day. And my social media, lady knows how to do the closes and all the other jobs because she went through that process before she came into the position she's at now. So
Yeah.
sometimes she'll go in the mornings and do closes in the mornings. If we have a lead that can only make a morning class, then she's the one that does that close.
That's beautiful, man. And I sure like you remember a life where you didn't have all these people helping you out?
No, I wore every single one of those hats, and I went to several business seminars, and I went
Which
through the
one did
whole
you go to?
Lloyd.
I go to these things all the time.
I
What
started
else?
off with the
Oh, me
Lloyd
too.
seminar.
Did you go in 2011?
I think so. In LA.
I went to. It was in I went to DC. I flew out to DC.
No, I went to one he had in LA. Master Chim was there, and the Avalon.
Yeah.
David Avalon was there. I went with Johnny Faria and my buddy Nick Steffen. We all rented a room together and went to that seminar. I abandoned a lot of his stuff, but the biggest thing, my biggest takeaway from there was being able to change your hats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what he explained was that, we love jiu-jitsu so much, we just want to give it away.
Mm-hmm.
And for business, that's a bullshit mindset. I had to ditch that.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge change there. And actually, I did get a pretty significant amount of growth after I went to that seminar. I didn't like the systems that he was proposing, the 30 days and all the other things.
Yeah.
And just wasn't for me at that time.
Yeah. No, I went to that one in 2011, and this was
Mhm.
like when I really started, really getting my like belief. I think I saw the movie with what's DiCaprio where he's like in the dreams, in the
Inception.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Inception. And there was a line where he's like, an idea can be viral. And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I could do an account. We could do an academy, bro. We could like, and then it festered and
Yeah.
festered. And next thing you know, here we are. But yeah, just having those hats and stuff, I think like, going from doing it all yourself, like was there like a moment where you're like, I can't do this, I gotta get some more help? And then what did that process look like for you to kind of like discover that?
I was my own worst enemy as far as that's concerned because I wanted to do it all myself. And there may or may not have been some underlying trust issues in my subconscious that I didn't really trust anybody to be in those positions.
Yeah.
But
I
more
think
so, I'm just
it's-
fucking hard headed, dude, and I wanted to all do it myself so I could say, "Look what I did," which
Mhm.
is bullshit. It's a bullshit mindset that I had to get rid of. Um, I remember the same kid that's out in Tennessee. I asked him to help me teach the kids class because I needed more time to put into sales and marketing and all the other things to help the academy grow.
Mhm. And then he was your first kind of hire. He was your first.
That was my first one, and the second one was one of the moms to work the front desk. So when people were walking in, she was collecting leads because we'd
Yeah.
have people come in the door and just leave. And
Yeah.
that's bullshit. If you run a business, you can't have
Yeah.
people walk in the door without leaving that phone number.
I remember I worked for Verizon Wireless for 9 years,
Yep.
and they were like, "Yo, if you don't greet them in 30 seconds, bro, like 30." I mean, and again, you walk in. I went to this barbecue place to get this order, and this lady just makes eye contact with me, just looks at me, and then goes back and does her thing. I was like, I felt some type of way about that. I was like, the food is delicious, but like, I hurt my feelings a little bit because you're so used to being
Good customer
needed.
service.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So,
It's the experience.
yeah, totally. So, what would you say is like, the worst part about like trying to get new students? Like, what would you say like is like the most difficult part? Would you say? Like people that want to get into stuff.
You're gonna laugh at this one, but the excuse makers. Like, oh man, I need to get in shape first, or I got to do it. Like some of the bullshit that I hear from people's mouths and the objections, and or the fucking icy red guys, and all the types, dude. And just like, dude, just shut the fuck up and sign on the line and do something good for yourself, man.
Okay, let's sign
You
you up.
know.
Okay, I can't do it. What? But how are you gonna
And
be?
then they come back years later and sign up, and they're like, "Man, I wish I would have signed up 5 years ago." And you're like, "Motherfucker, I told you."
I told you last time you came in here. I had this woman
Yeah.
that literally came in here. She came with her daughter when she was like 4, and didn't sign up, and just signed up like last week after like I'm looking at the texting. I was like, dude, we've been talking for years, man. Like,
Right.
we finally got her, so we're supposed to get started here.
Leads never die, man.
Yeah, leads, exactly. They buy. Was it? I learned that Lord thing. Buy, fly, or die. That's the only way you're not gonna like you hear from me again. So in being in business for so long, I know it takes like, time to grow and things like that. Like, did you ever find like you had like this big roadblock that kind of stopped you from like getting to where you want to be or getting that plateau? And then like, if so, like what were you able to do to kind of get around it, would you say?
Yeah, we were stuck at a certain number monetarily for years. I couldn't I mean, I guess I could just say it like, we couldn't surpass even like 15 grand a month, for a while there. And I just couldn't figure it out. I didn't know what I was doing. And dude, I stumbled across an ad one time for Alan Belcher's group.
Yep. I
Right.
joined like those with yeah.
I jumped in with Alan and his guys, and I'm still there. I had
Oh,
left
wow.
for a little while during COVID. I left for a little while, kept working the systems, and then I got back in because it's just too high a value. It's too good of a peer group to not be a part of, and it's totally
Yeah.
worth the money that I spend on it,
Yeah.
And so
No, absolutely.
it's an investment in your school and yourself and many other things. It's just too good not to buy into every month. And so if I had a piece of advice for anybody, don't be a cheap fuck and get in a mentorship group,
Don't be a
Seriously,
cheap
dude.
fuck.
Don't
Yes.
be a cheap fuck, dude. Spend the money. It's worth it. Every
Yeah.
dime.
And I think kind of to your point, like getting into groups like that, there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of like, what if it doesn't work? This is a lot of money. I'm doing things this kind of way. And like,
Right.
I think the idea of like, well, look, bro, you hit these guys up because what you're doing isn't working. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like you did this because, you're stuck at this kind of thing and you
Yep.
can't plateau. I think, my wife and I have another business, it's a home care business. And we're about 9 months into it. And, we've grown a fair amount. We really try to push this aggressive growth, but like, we don't have the staff to do it. So you can't just like pedal to the metal. You have to kind of, to get to those next levels. It's the next higher. It's the next this. It's feeling better about like, you guys do it. Like, I'm not going to do it all myself, So that's huge, man. I think like if anybody takes away anything from this, like understand that like you said, being in a group of mentors and people that know what they're doing.
It's powerful.
I mean, look, we should technically be a society of the most in shape, the most educated, the most like best people. In some ways we are, in some ways we're very far away from that because of the access to like YouTubes and books and knowledges and stuff like that. But the value of getting information from someone that knows what they're doing specific towards your thing or whatever, and be able to explain it to you, like you really can't, substitute that, So okay, that's awesome, man.
These are things that I knew from 2008 when I went to Tony Robbins. Is if you want to be successful at anything, find somebody that's already at where you want to be and figure out what their model is and copy that shit.
Yeah. I always say like people love to give unsolicited advice, myself included, and I always like give the disclaimer, here's some free unsolicited advice. But look, if you're doing what I'm doing, I'm gonna probably listen to you. If you're doing better than how I'm doing, I'm definitely gonna listen to you. If you can't answer yes to either of those questions, I'll listen to what you gotta say, but I may not take action on what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So
there were guys in Alan's group when I signed up that were just doing these unbelievable monthly numbers. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, really, man? You're making that much from a jiu-jitsu academy?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Where do I sign up? I got to learn what you're doing.
Yeah, I think once you kind of get it down and you understand, and again, it's about goals, which kind of like bring me to my next question. So, 9 years into this, you have the growth that you want, you're killing it, academy's doing great, you're having affiliates. Like, what would you say is like, and what is like your end goal, I guess? What would you say is like your path, you know? And I think like for me, it's like there's no end, right? What else am I gonna do? But do you have like a specific like goal in mind, or like what is the next like 10, 15 years or something look like for you with the trajectory you're on?
I just want to keep refining the process, man, and make it cleaner. I never want, again, I don't want so many affiliates to where I can't man. I'm not looking to ever be like a Gracie Barra or one of those guys. And the money there, I'm sure it's great, but for me, my time is more valuable than money. And if I could have 20 to 25 tops affiliates, that would be great. But
Mm.
ultimately, you know, what I want to do is purchase 100 acres out east and
Mm.
have a farm, drive into town, teach jujitsu, and go back to my farm and be away from all the hustle and bustle and just, you know, fly around and travel to my affiliates. I love to travel,
Mm.
go visit people and share jujitsu, and that's the ultimate dream, you know.
Man, that sounds amazing. I don't know if I would be for me, but it sounds amazing. What type of where back east do you want to get a farm? Like where?
Oh, when I say east, I'm not leaving San Diego. I'm just talking about
Oh,
driving
okay.
out east here. Yeah, I don't. This is my grandfather moved here in 1940s, and
Where's he
so
from?
he came from Louisiana.
Okay, okay.
And so my kids are fourth generation San Diegans basically. And so we're
Mm.
not going anywhere, dude. I got a big foothold here and I want
Yeah.
to make it even bigger.
What type of crops do you want to grow?
You know, I don't want to grow any, I don't really eat that many vegetables, dude, to be honest with you.
We'll
My
edit
main
that out.
diet
We'll
is
edit
I
that
eat
out. I eat lots of vegetables. No, I'm just kidding.
beef, eggs, and fruit.
Okay. All right.
That's
So
it.
would you have like livestock or something or like
Yeah, I would probably do cattle, chickens. I mean, and fruit trees.
yeah.
That's probably my jam.
Yeah.
You know,
What trees
because
do not, son?
like if you're a jujitsu guy, you're not going to go open a karate school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I'm a farmer and I like to eat beef, eggs, and fruit, I'm not going to grow vegetables. You know what I mean?
That's
Got to do
fair.
something you're
That's fair.
passionate about. It makes it way better.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think like a lot of people, I mean, I can't speak for everyone else, but I know for myself, like I don't think you really appreciate like the work that goes into like agriculture, like the food that you have to eat and
Yeah.
everything it took to get that food to your
Right.
plate, bro. Like when your hands on it, like that's what's up, man. We were looking at me and my wife like to watch like real estate shows and we'll go on like Redfin and see we have some real estate stuff. We'll look at like different ones, and there are like places out here, like in the middle of nowhere, where it's
Yeah.
like I don't know, 5, 6 acres, and it's one beautiful house and this whole kind of thing. And it's like, look, it's great, but like, I don't know if I want someone knocking on my door to murder me. I've seen enough scary movies to be like, you know what? Let me call my neighbors at least. But neighbors are whatever. But I think to your point, like, yeah, working towards like kind of what you want, you know, I think is what we all kind of get into this. Like we do so much forever. We're in a service business. We're therapists for people. We're like, you know, life coaches for people. We're physical trainers. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
like, you know, mentors and all these kind of things. And to understand, like to work towards something, I think is super important, man. So you gotta let me know when you get that farm. Do you have like a time frame or like
Well, my daughter's just started high school, so we're not trying to move or disrupt anything as far as that's concerned. But
mm,
we're definitely getting things in line, and you know, making sure everything is good. So when the time is right, we can get the right piece and make the right moves. And so I would say within 5 years,
oh man, that's beautiful, bro. That is
I'll
beautiful.
be
Well, we're
I'll
gonna
be
have to tap in.
55 years old.
Yeah, let me know when that happens, and send me some
Yeah,
fruit and maybe a chicken or some eggs.
yeah, man, absolutely.
So if you had a crystal ball, what
Yeah.
would you say? You know, being in jiu-jitsu as long as you've been in it, seeing kind of how the industry is kind of going, like, what challenges do you think like academy owners are going to experience kind of in the future?
Well, I see jujitsu headed in the way that karate did in the 80s.
Mm,
If the right people don't get in the way. And what I mean by that is, I mean, there are certain forms of karate that are still legit,
mm,
but I would say 90% of it is crap.
mm.
And the reason why that's crap is because the people that were in charge, the powers that be, allowed it to slip and fall, and the standards dropped. And like, I will never point any names or any teams or schools, but man, I get guys that are wearing like a purple, brown, or black belt that come by my school, and they're getting smoked by my blue belts, man. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and my guys are like that too. They're like, well, why is he wearing a purple belt? I'm still a blue belt. I'm like, that's because we have standards here, man, because I'm trying to hold the line. I don't ever want that to get away from all of us, you know, because my worst nightmare is for us to end up that way and become a joke.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you think, like, in terms of standards, and this is last Samuel on the last podcast about, like, I know the belt system. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, right? Like,
Yep.
things have changed, and the belt system, I feel it's super subjective, right? Like that D1 wrestler, he's gonna come in and put some pressure on some higher belts, you know, versus
Yeah.
that guy with the 3 kids that's working hard at the job and trains at
Yeah.
5 in the morning and does his thing, you know. He may not be the toughest guy. When you say standards, are you mean because it's like ability and technique are different. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
would you
You're
say,
right.
like, elaborate on that if you could?
Well, you know, the difference between ability and technique is, like you just said, you can have a D1 wrestler or you can have a 60-year-old man. They show up on the same exact day, and let's say in 3 or 6 months they both sign up for a tournament. The D1 wrestler is probably going to clap cheeks. You know what I mean? He's gonna smoke all the. If he's still a white belt, he's gonna smoke everybody on the mat, dude. And he might get caught up by some skinny dude in a Darce or a guillotine or something
Yeah,
like that, because they always lead with their heads, because
yeah.
they're hard headed. And then the old man, you know, if he's competing in a masters division, could do pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, he might just be coming like 1 or 2 days a week, and he might just go out there and get smashed in side control and tap from pressure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You, you
yeah,
know, so, but if you have that 60-year-old man and he's coming 5 days a week, he's going to be the ninja out there, dude. People aren't going to be expecting him coming. And, you know, if he's doing it right, then he's sweeping, he's getting on top and being patient, and the whole old man game. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I think you know, we have. I'm just you're saying that we have a guy here. Is a black belt in his 60s, and I'll train with him, and he's technical. Like, he's
Yeah.
not, you know, he knows the moves and stuff. He knows position. He moves well. You know, he's very thoughtful in terms of, like, he teaches every, you know, once a week and stuff like that. But I think, to your point, and hopefully, you know, hearing you say this and hearing what you're talking about, like, just setting the standard. And I think, like, having people know, like, look, to get good at this, you got to be consistent. You know, to get good at this, you can't be messing around. You know what I mean? Like, if you like to go party and get drunk and smoke backwoods, like, that in jiu-jitsu doesn't mix, you know. And if I can get you on a trajectory where it then improves your life and you're doing better for it, like, that's the standard. You know, that's what I'm really trying to teach. Is what it
There,
sounds like you're saying.
there are academies where that's the culture, man. And if that's what they want to do, that's, you know, it's totally on them. But
Yeah.
for me, I, like, you know, I'd already mentioned before, you know, I prefer some dude that's, you know, 32 years old with some new babies, going
Yeah.
to church every Sunday, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, dedicated. You know, I'd take that over some 25-year-old, you know, world champion kid that I got to manage because he shows up hungover and
Yeah.
smelling like a bag of weed, you know, any day.
Yeah. And I think that just comes, like, learning those lessons, hopefully aren't as painful for other people, which kind of brings me to my next question.
Yep.
So, last question, what advice would you give to people that are considering opening up a jiu-jitsu academy?
Um, be sure that your intentions are solid.
Mm,
Anybody can open up a jiu-jitsu academy, dude. Any monkey, like, you could take a blue belt with a shit ton of money in the bank, and he can go and hire a black belt if he knows the systems and plug people in where they need to go and do okay.
mm,
Anybody can do that. But if his intentions are foul behind it, it'll always fall on its face. or that black belt will take all those students and go open up his own gym when he, has his following there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that happen too. You
Yeah.
know, um, I would say have the good intentions, have the right people around you, have a good support team. If you're in a very rural area, just open up a school, dude. It won't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
Just open them doors, put down some mats, start shaking hands and talking to people and build it. And I mean, that's basically what I did out here. We had myself and one other academy out here when I first opened. Now there's maybe 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen schools come and go over the years. People pop up thinking they're going to do this big, awesome thing, and they slam all this money into it, and they do it the wrong way. They slam the money in the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
So have a plan. You know what I mean?
Where
Like,
would you say they should slam their money?
initially, definitely in marketing.
Marketing.
Have a clean academy, of course, and you're going to do all the work in the beginning. So, you're going to love it more than anyone else anyway because it's your baby. So, have a clean academy and put all your money back into marketing immediately because that'll pay the most dividends.
Yeah.
If you make $100 and you need 50 of that to pay bills, the entire other $50 should go into marketing. That's the
Mm-hmm.
easiest math I can do right here, right? And until you build up enough to hire somebody to be an office manager. Once you have an office manager, then you can work on your business instead of working in your business.
Yeah.
And then at some point you'll be able to do what you love, man. We didn't get into jiu-jitsu to sell jiu-jitsu or to do paperwork and taxes and all. I didn't anyway, because I
Yeah.
hate all that bullshit. I
You
got
didn't
into
do that at all.
jiu-jitsu to coach people up and be on the mat and roll and sweat and have a good time, dude. I didn't get into jiu-jitsu for all the other crap. I'd rather pay somebody else to do it.
Yeah. And that I think can be like the hardest lesson to learn. But once you're kind of on the other side of that, you're like, oh, bro, I didn't do this sooner, man. If I only had known, if
Yes.
I only would have done it sooner. So,
Yeah, that would be my major thing, is to delegate ASAP, spend your money on leads, and delegate ASAP. Those are probably the 2 major takeaways I got from starting the academy.
Yeah.
That I
Well,
fucked up on.
totally. I mean, I guess I got this thing in my walls. My failures are my down payment for my success.
There you go.
Like, here's my penny in the bank. Oh, I fucked this up so many times, but I figured it out finally through persistence.
Yeah, I never went to college. I never went to high school, but I definitely went to college learning how to run a business with jiu-jitsu for sure.
Well, Dylan, brother, man, thank you so much for your time, bro.
Yeah.
I think this has been super insightful. Like,
Yeah, that's cool.
really enjoy hearing people's stories, and like so much of them are the same, and some people kind of go through different paths and different backgrounds and stuff like that. And I love you talking about living with intention. I'm a firm believer in like our interactions with each other will ultimately determine where we go as like people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
if you're out in the streets beating people up, doing bad things and stuff like that, like that energy is gonna reverberate and it's gonna continue. If you're here teaching people, helping people, being intentional, showing love, showing appreciation, and trying to grow people, then that's gonna reverberate, man. And I feel like if you own a jiu-jitsu academy, it's I mean, it's not impossible to not be good, because we've been doing this long enough, we don't speak some things, but generally, like, that's gonna be the path, and I'm super stoked to hear that.
All of that other stuff that you just mentioned is actually part of my story, and that's another conversation.
Okay.
But really, that really is the driving force behind why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Is I don't want other people to end up going down that life path that I did. It started at a very young age. It was shitty for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I climbed my way out of the hole, and I don't want people to dig themselves into that hole. So what a better way to do that than to lead them through the martial arts,
Man, I'm about to get like feel some type of way right now, but that's beautiful,
Don't
man.
do that, man.
Yes. Your
Your eyeballs are sweating, Lance.
Oh, it's dusty in here.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you're ever in San Diego, check out Dylan Dearborn, Infinity Jiu-Jitsu. If you're an affiliate, you're looking at affiliate, this guy is on it. Definitely check him out. This has been episode 5 of the BJJ and Business Marketing Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Lance.
All right. So hold on. I'm just going to pause this thing here. It's not recording. And I'm save this here.